Hello there, my name is Nick, and I just wanted to make a video regarding Classic WoW and kind of give my opinion and my first impressions as a longtime WoW player. I played a Classic WoW, or Vanilla, and Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mist of Pandaria, and a little bit of Warlords of Draenor. I didn't really get into Legion. I just kind of lost my passion for the game after probably the end of Cataclysm, and it came back a little bit in Mist of Pandaria, but in reality, it just kind of went downhill from Cataclysm. But yeah, I played a bit of Warlords Draenor, and then came back for like a week for Legion, and then Battle for Azeroth. Kind of as a protest to where the game is going. I just didn't touch it, didn't download it, didn't try it. And so, during the downtime from not playing a WoW expansion, you always kind of try and fill that part of your soul that misses playing a good MMO. And I had a friend who ended up playing on a private server, Light's Hope, and he said, "Hey, you should come try this out. It's vanilla WoW. It's pretty good." And so I did. And I ended up trying playing Light's Hope and leveling every single class to level 20. And then I picked a Warlock and got that into the high 40s. And a Paladin into the high 40s as well. And I was doing this to kind of test out which class I wanted to play in Classic. In original Vanilla WoW, I had hit level 60 on a Paladin, and I had a level 45 Rogue. And I was curious of the mechanics of Vanilla WoW and wanted to reacclimate myself to the kind of more difficult leveling and longer leveling and just flight paths and mechanics of the game. And so I really got into the private servers, and I didn't want to ruin raiding. That's why I never hit 60 and did any of the dungeons at 60 or anything like that. Although my friend had done some pretty hardcore raiding, and he had ended up killing Nax before the release of actual Classic WoW. And the reason why I'm giving you all that backstory and understanding of who I am as a WoW player is because I'm honestly going to shit on WoW Classic in this video, and I'm not doing that out of hate for the game or anything like that. I'm just trying to make people understand the reasons that Classic WoW is not a fair or reasonable, it's not an actual representation of what Classic WoW should have been or what Vanilla WoW actually is. And the major points I'm going to hit here is my experience. And my experience with Classic WoW was logging into the server on day one and hour one. I rolled on the Herod server as a horde, and I managed to get in the moment the button lit up for Enter World. And yeah, there I was. I started leveling a mage, and I got to level 3. Unfortunately, I disconnected. I guess there was a big DC wave, and I got put in a queue. I got put in a queue for 8 hours, and I sat there and waited, and I was really hyped and excited to play the game. So I sat through an 8-hour queue. I got in, and I ended up playing for, another 20, 25 hours at least. I just pushed really hard and no-lifed it. And honestly, when I got back in after the queue, I was kind of really surprised because the server was still full at that point, and I was in the starting area for the undead, and there was hardly any people around me. And this kind of persisted for me throughout the leveling experience, at least, even to this very day. And we're like probably 6-7 days into Classic. When you're walking through zones, even major cities like, Undercity and whatnot, it doesn't feel like there's actually a lot of people, and it feels empty. And so, I know I was ahead of the curve at the time, and there wasn't, a lot of people my level, or at least the top tier players were probably a bit ahead of me. And the people that have jobs and a life are not going to stay up that late. But like I said, the servers were full, so there had to have been players in the game. And I think the truth of that is that a lot of them were just getting layered away. And this is my first real experience with layering in this game, and in a long time. I don't remember layering being really a thing in any of the original WoW expansions. I don't know where it came in, but I think it may have came in Warlords of Draenor. And it's honestly it's horrible. I was in STV and I was running around and I didn't see another player on a full server. Um, Not a single person. And everybody was also exploiting the dungeon EXP bug. And every single person in World Chat is just spamming looking for mages, warlocks, AoE DPS for SM. And that's pretty well much the starting of Classic WoW. And it's just horrible. Another thing I'll note is that the prices on the auction house seem to be pretty, everything seemed to be pretty worthless. And, I'm not exactly sure if this is across all servers or whatnot, but it kind of feels like with layering, you have no competition for resources or anybody else in the world. So, if you're trying to level something, a profession, there's nobody else picking herbs in STV. There's nobody else picking herbs because everybody's so divided by layers that, there's just no competition. It's really dumb. And then, of course, also in World Chat, another thing that you commonly see is layer hopping. I've had friends message me just for a layer hop. Hey, can I hop from your layer? I'm getting ganked. I'm this and that. And that is not the spirit of Classic at all. You don't get to just disappear from a hostile situation in PvP. You choose to run. You choose to leave the zone. You choose to get other people to help you combat those people in PvP, or you choose to log off. You don't get to just go to another layer. It's so anti-PvP server that you might as well be playing a single-player game. I just don't understand it. And I'm not good at PvP, and I get frustrated when I get ganked. But the thing about it is when you take away all these things that were impediments, that they were barriers in the original vanilla experience, you start to make the experience so easy that it's nothing like it was in vanilla. And so you've got people hitting level 60 in 3 days. I think that Joker D guy did it, and he didn't exactly abuse layering. I think he did a level 1 to 58, and then he showed the world how abusable layering can be from 58 to 60. And it really is abusable. I've seen things on Reddit where people are showing people hopping through layers to get chests in eastern western plaglands. And if my memory serves me correctly, there's really powerful things that can come from the eastern western plaglands, like Crusader enchant and stuff like that, and just really valuable resources that early on in this economy should not really exist, because people should be fighting for that stuff. It shouldn't be just handed to you that easily through exploiting layering and stuff like that. And just in general, it feels like a really scuffed launch for vanilla or classic WoW. And it's really not the experience that I was expecting. And a lot of people, I've been watching the news and kind of asking people in my parties while playing the game, what do you think of layering? What do you feel like the world is and stuff? And some people have this notion that layering needs to be in the game because the population is so high and the zones would be so crazy to level in. But maybe I'm wrong on this number, but it was in Wrath of the Lich King, wasn't it, where WoW was at its peak subscribers. It was like, what, 2.8 million, 3.2 million or something like that, and we didn't have layering in Wrath of the Lich King, so I don't see why it's a necessary thing. I think that being in the same world with people and fighting for the same resources, whether it be mobs or quests, nodes that you pick up off the ground, things like that, that is the vanilla experience. And I understand if there's 1,000 people in your starting zone and it feels impossible to get a mob, but the truth of the matter is just party up with some people, tag the mob, take it really slow. It's gonna suck, but at least it doesn't ruin the rest of the game. And I mean, you could log in at a different time when there's not so many people in the zone. You could go to some of the quest starting zones that are not as popular, like the Torn one, for example, and you could level that way. I mean, at the end of the day, vanilla WoW has always kind of been about the journey, not the destination. If you focus on the destination, people have already killed Ragnaros and Onyxia, and we're not even, I think we're about a week into Classic's launch. And people need to realize how damaging having layering is in the game right now, because the leveling experience is most of the content in Phase 1 Classic. That's the truth. I mean, what do? You hit level 60, and then people can already clear Ragnaros and greens, so getting your pre-best in slot is useful, but it's not necessary. So you're gonna go do some dungeons, and you're gonna enjoy the world. Maybe you're gonna farm some gold and stuff, but most of the actual content is the questing experience. And then you're gonna do maybe like attunement for Onyxia, and then Molten Core attunement is just touching a rock essentially. There's nothing, there's no battlegrounds, there's no honor system, there's no, it's the world. The world is the highlight. And, I think they failed to deliver in a really bad way. And like I was saying before, or I believe I said before, there was the exploit for the raid EXP. And, my friend is in a top guild that used to play on a private server, and they exploited the hell out of the SM leveling thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I got invited to some runs because I knew him, and they had a whole system going. They had another account that was like resetting the instance. We would run SM Cathedral, and we would do it all within, I think the leader was saying, wow, that's really fast. We did 8 minutes. 8-minute runs, and it was like 6-7 bars of experience. And then after we did Cathedral, because we did it so quickly, we'd run out of Cathedral and go into Armory and do Armory in like 3 or 4 pulls, and then we would log out all at the same time. The other person with the multiple counts would reset the instance, and then we would run back into Cathedral and just do Cathedral over again and never get locked out. And I mean, you can go all the way from like level 36, 37 to 42 in Cathedral, and it's like 1 hour a level. And so it was stupid. It should have been patched immediately. And oh, here, look, I logged in. Yeah, and it was just, yeah, I don't know. And this whole entire thing is just, it's been a really bad release, and I'm worried about the health of Classic. Like, I honestly don't think that this is gonna hold people in for very long. And I just wanted to make this video for this disappointment. The disappointing feelings that I have. As you can see, I'm level 45, and let's take a look at my played. Oh, I guess it's in the other tab. Yeah, 4 days, 1 hour, and 45 minutes, and I'm almost at 2 hours for this level. Yeah, I kind of just gave up, to be honest. I've been demotivated. I'm pretty tired, I've been pulling long days. But yeah, I've been pretty demotivated to actually just play the game, because it feels like I'm not even in a world. Like, oh wow, look, I see one guy there. Look at that level 10. Oh, there's another guy. Okay, maybe the population's fixed. A third guy. Unbelievable. But yeah, it still does kind of feel dead, to be honest, compared to the private servers I played on. It doesn't feel like the world is alive. And unfortunately, I think that's going to continue until they patch it, and they patch layering out of the game. But anyways, I just wanted to make a video of my first impressions of Classic, and maybe I'm wrong about the layering. Maybe as the game progresses longer, the layers will become less and less, and the world will feel more populated. I'm actually kind of surprised right now that there are people running around in here, because before there really wasn't. And so maybe, for the rest of this video here, I'll just quickly run down into Undercity and take a look. Because before it was just like, there's nobody here. Oh, here's a dude. I mean, I believe it was a long weekend. I live in Canada, so it was a long weekend. Maybe more people are playing now than initially, or the queue times have gone down as well. That's also a possibility. Just take a look. Yeah, there's a few people. See, the thing about it is I'm used to playing on like Lights Hope, and Lights Hope, everywhere you went there was like 100, 200 people, and it made the world just feel like you were in an actual world with tons of people around you. Let's go take a look at Orgrimmar. Oh yeah, I have my mount. I keep forgetting. It's just one of those things. Here's a mage. There's a few people. I guess the population may have fixed itself a little bit. Maybe I was just so far ahead of the curve that it just felt bad. But honestly, with the layering, it's still a huge problem whether this place feels populated or not. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, I'm looking here. This is hardly anything for fucking Orgrimmar. This feels like I'm on a low pop server, to be honest. Like what? This is like, you could say 40 people? 40 people between here and there? Maybe 60 at the most? Feels kind of dead, to be honest. Like, I know it's later at the night, but there was still a queue time that you guys seen in there at the beginning of this video. And, I mean, you could say that people were out in the world questing, but, yeah, it just feels kind of dead. And I mean, like I was saying about the layering, you know, people still are able to avoid PvP through layering. They're able to abuse leveling through layering. They're able to do a lot of different bad things. And you know what's so funny about this is, imagine if there's like 5 layers right now and they all collapsed on top of one and we're an actual world. This place would be huge. There'd be hundreds of more people here, and it would be great. And I think that's what the game really needs. I think layering needs to go away as soon as possible before it does any more damage to the economy and whatnot. Because, you know, like, if a private server can do it, if 2006 World of Warcraft can do it, I don't see why layering is necessary. This is a living, breathing world, and it needs to feel like that. And I mean, right now, like, this is really not that many people, in my view. I guess the server time is 12 a.m., but for me, it's, yeah, local time. It's only 9:30, so really, I don't know. I just wanted to rant a little bit. I wanted to put my feelings out there in a video form because, you know, my intuition of this has actually been pretty bad. And, you know, if any of my friends or anybody is going to tell me or make an argument with me about, oh, how, you know, WoW is great and wonderful, and then 3 months from now it's dying, WoW Classic is dying because they didn't manage things right or didn't listen to their communities. You know, at least I have this video to say, hey, I've been really consistent with my opinion on this, and the disappointment is real. It really does feel like this is Herod. This is Herod, and yeah, this is a full server right now. The server is full. And yeah, I guess there's a fair amount of people, I guess. Maybe I'm complaining too much, but it doesn't feel as alive, I guess, as it should. And you got to remember, this is a full server. So until layering is removed, if a population starts to drop massively, unless those layers collapse on top of each other, it's never going to be bigger than this. And even if the layers do collapse on each other, it's never going to be bigger than this because the maximum amount of players will just spill over back into the layers, and the layers have a cap. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm making the bad argument because this does feel like quite a few. It doesn't feel like a lot, but it feels like, you know, feels like medium pop. I'll give it that. Maybe low to medium pop server. And Orgrimmar is the city where everybody hangs out. I mean, there was a few people in Undercity, but this is, you know, it's okay. But anyways, I just wanted to give my thoughts of, you know, my first impressions of Classic WoW and kind of my feelings on it. And yeah, I mean, flame me in the comments. Give me your opinions in the comments. And you know, I'm not doing this for money or, you know, subscriptions, so don't worry about that. I just want to put this out here as kind of like a video diary or journal of the moment in history because, yeah, I think layering's going to destroy this game, unfortunately. Anyways, thank you for watching.